Hey, everybody, welcome again. It's the Show Me Reptile Show podcast. I believe we're on episode number 13, lucky 13 here. We got Micky and Scott with us, and our special guest this week, Clint Bartley. And we have, he is with CEO and owner of Metazotics, also a co host on Colubrid and Colubrid Radio podcast. And he is here to help us make a special announcement this week. So, Clint, I will hand it over to you. You can tell him the big news and then kind of introduce yourself.
You got it. I'll tell you what. Thank you so much for having me on. Very, very excited to get to make this announcement because it's something that, as Micky knows, it's been in the works for quite some time now. We are announcing that we have officially locked in the venue, and ColubridFest, the first ever ColubridFest, is happening. We have this happening at the Indiana Convention Center in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's going to be September 27th, 28th, and 29th. And do you want me to kind of go into what to expect, what ColubridFest is?
Yeah, we should, because this is a little different than our typical reptile shows. Being 3 days and a whole different educational aspect. So, yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll kind of start at the beginning, where the brainchild came from and, what got us to this point. So, on Colubrid and Colubrid Radio, which, our podcast, it's myself and Dr. Zach Loafman. Zach is a PhD and herpetologist at West Liberty University, and he teaches herpetology. His passion is colubrids, just like mine, and colubroids as well, which are going to kind of classify hognose snakes and a lot of the rear fang species that aren't technically colubrids, but they're lumped in, so to speak. So we absolutely love that, we'll call it genre or segment, of our discipline. And as we all know, many of the reptile shows are heavily into certain species, right? Some shows we've got more diversity than others, but as we know, the colubrids just don't get represented to the amount that we would like them to. And we were getting requests because there are things out there like Carpet Fest, for example, where several of the guys that are into carpet pythons get together, have a barbecue, that kind of thing. And people were asking us, can you do a Colubrid Fest? And we decided we wanted to do it, but we wanted to do it right. We wanted to go big. And one of the philosophies on CCR is combining the quote unquote hobby and the hobbyist with academia, because it seems like too often those two arenas battle instead of coming together and bridging and really moving the love and the passion for these animals forward. They fight each other and bicker and don't respect one another. And for us, that's not the case. So what we did was I kind of put something out there as far as a questionnaire on cities. If we were going to have this Colubrid Fest, what are some cities that would, which one would you pick, or which ones would you attend? And Indianapolis happened to be one of them on there, and it was chosen 70% of the time. And so what I loved about that is, before I ever said anything about that city, Micky messaged me and just says, do it in Indianapolis. And it was so funny that Micky messaged, because he had no idea that he was already so on my radar to be a part of this, because I am not a show guy. I don't know how to put this stuff together. And the reason that I wanted Micky and the whole Show Me team to be a part of this and to really catapult Colubrid Fest forward is because it's actually the very first interaction that I had with Micky. And, I don't know if Micky recalls it, but it was before we knew each other. I sent a message. I wanted to vend the St. Louis show. And Micky's very first response to me was, what kind of animals do you work with? And I loved that. I absolutely loved it, because it told me he wasn't as worried about filling up tables as he was about bringing a quality show with the right mix. And that kind of set the tone for our relationship. And so even though I hadn't talked to him about it yet, I had already planned, as soon as I had some groundwork and could prove that this had merit and had, feet that really wanted to run, I planned on taking it to Micky. He reached out before I ever got that far. I told him what the vision was, and I mean, he was on board, and you guys really jumped on and made these, made a lot of these steps just happen. So that's how we got here. Now let's talk about what ColubridFest is. So ColubridFest is, again, the bridging of the hobby and academia. So Friday night, that's going to be a mixer. That's going to be for people who are coming in from all over the country to be able to get together and just meet. I really feel that this is going to be one of those nights where there's so many people that you say, we've been Facebook friends for years, but have never met in person, because it's coming from all over the country. So that's just going to be a wonderful evening of getting to hang out with, like-minded individuals, right? Then comes Saturday. What Saturday is it's no sales. Saturday is all education, presentations, and talks. And what I mean by that are, we're going to have different experts on whether it's certain species, certain topics that pertain to colubrids. We haven't locked this in yet, but I know one topic I think I would love to have a talk on that Zach is currently working on is cryptosporidium. Crypto. That's a big thing in the colubrid world, and there's so many myths, legends, and misinformation. That's going to be a great piece to learn more about. But we may talk about stubborn feeders. We may, there's UVB. There's all kinds of potential talks that are going to take place, and panels. So panels with some of the, different individuals within this discipline and this hobby to get to discuss whatever topics get brought forth. So I think that's going to be very informative, very educational, and it's super, super excited, for that part. Next up, Saturday night, we've got an auction lined up, and we will announce at a later date the specific colubrid conservation effort that all auction proceeds will go to. And we decided that because we all love and support USARK, we love what they do, but since this was being so tied into the academic realm as well as the hobby, we wanted to support a cause that went towards conservation instead of legislation, and really put somewhere that the money was going to have a big impact, because a lot of these, they struggle to get funding, right? A lot of these efforts. So that's Saturday night. Then comes Sunday. Sunday is the colubrid only show. Now, what that means is we will still have a shipper there. We will still have supplies. We will still have feeders. We will have the things that you come to expect at a reptile show, but all of the animals there for sale will be colubrids and colubroids. So you're not going to find ball pythons. You're not going to find boas. You're not going to find geckos unless they're feeders, that kind of thing. So it's super exciting. We also went with Indiana because it's very colubrid friendly in their laws, meaning the only colubrids that you can't sell there are natives that are wild type specimens, meaning you can sell black rats as long as they're a morph, that type of thing. So that's very much in our favor. They also have I'm calling a white list of rear fang venomous species that are completely okay, no permits needed. Just two of those off the top of my head are going to be hognose and false water cobras. Some of the popular ones there, those can be sold in Indiana with no issue. So I am incredibly stoked about this, as I'm sure you guys can tell. I know that Zach, my co-host is. I know that Micky is. The amount of phone calls that have flown between us over the past several months to make this happen have been constant, and the level of excitement when each of us talk to one another about this is just off the charts. So I am pumped, and I know it took a lot of work, and I think Micky can probably share a little more on that, because it took more than we expected, didn't it?
Oh yeah, finding a venue was surprisingly hard for this event. We'd called around, we were doing a lot of research, and it ended up being the one venue that I was trying to avoid ended up being the home for it. And I think it's going to be a really good spot after I did a little more research on it and stuff. There's a lot of stuff to do in downtown Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
The venue's super nice. I mean, you can fly in, hop on an Uber or whatever you want to do. You can walk to the place. Probably too far to walk, but
Yeah, but once you're there, you can walk anywhere,
yeah,
anything you need. I'm actually very familiar with downtown Indianapolis because where we're doing this is right by Lucas Oil Stadium, right by the home of the Colts. And so that downtown area is designed for once you're there, everything you need is right in the vicinity. I mean, I know flights in and out of Indianapolis are relatively inexpensive. From Miami to Indianapolis, a round trip was $207. I mean,
yeah,
that's very, very doable for most people. Um, and then once if you got a hotel downtown, there's so many restaurants. The downtown area is a nice area to walk and explore. And the reason I say all that is because obviously not everyone in our family, may be reptile people. So if you're hearing this and you're the reptile lover, but your wife or husband is not, it can still be a family weekend in downtown Indianapolis where, everyone is going to find something out there to go do and enjoy if they're not wanting to participate, in ColubridFest. So definitely a great choice and great area.
yeah. I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be really good, and I think it's gonna be something that just builds year after year. Because we're already kind of scouting out, 2025
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, and I've been talking back and forth with the venue all week. I'll have the hotel blocks out soon for everybody. Definitely don't be afraid to come out and support this. Don't be the milk snake breeder that's like, I'll wait and see what it does this year. Come out and get out there this year.
Yeah. I'll say two things to the point you just made there. One, if you have ever been someone who has complained about all the ball pythons at a reptile show, this is how you fix it. You come show how important this type of diversity really is and how important this segment means to you. Come support this so that we can make this bigger and better every single year going forward. That's the first thing I'll say. The second is, even though this is ColubridFest and we're saying that none of this and none of that, is coming as far as animals, this is an inclusive event, not an exclusive, meaning we are not wanting to exclude anyone. If you're a colubrid lover and your buddy is nothing but a ball python breeder, you know what? That's fine. I like ball pythons too.
Yeah, they're pretty
This
cool.
is your opportunity. Yeah. This is your opportunity to bring your ball python buddy, to bring your boa buddy to something that showcases why you love this type of animal or this segment, because there's going to be more colubrids and more diversity of colubrids than anywhere else you're really going to go, in the country. So that's what I mean is I don't want any of us to say we don't want those people here. That's not what this is. That's not what this is at all. This is a way for us to continue to grow this phenomenal segment of our discipline and to get not just here's a lot of cool animals, but to be educated on them at the same time. It's something we just don't get to experience ever in this hobby.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think the kind of the awesome thing, I haven't been deeply in the reptile world for a long time, other than the last 5, 6, 7 years, but it seems to me always that things in the reptile world kind of go cyclical. Something that's super popular right now, it fades away for a little bit. Something else takes over for a while. And it feels like over the last year to 2 years, colubrids have really started gaining popularity again, too. So I think the timing is perfect for this. Ball pythons, of course, they're always going to be number one because there's 2,000 different morphs to work with. But I think this is awesome. The timing is perfect for something like this. And I love that you guys included the educational aspect to it because that's something that people ask for all the time, and we want to deliver. And the fact that you've got a whole day that it's going to be dedicated to that's awesome to me.
I just
I
hope we
think
have
that
enough room.
I hope we have to go even bigger next year. I mean, that's what
Well,
we're after right there.
I was talking to the lady at the venue today, and there is a possibility. You know, if we need to, we can move into a much larger space. So
Nice, nice. Well, and I tell you what I love is how many people have already messaged me, I've got my travel booked. And we're talking people from California, we're talking Florida, I mean, the East Coast, everywhere, all around.
oh
People
yeah.
are booked and ready to make this happen because of how wanted this has been for so very long.
Well, people were talking about it at one of our shows in Utah this past weekend. You know, I mean, so we're definitely getting it out there. I'm really excited to see what shows up there. You know.
Oh, yes. This is like you and I were talking, Mickey. This is definitely a show where even though I'm going to be set up, Metazotics is going to be there and we're going to have tables full of the best animals we can bring. While I certainly hope to have a phenomenal show for my store, there's no doubt I'm going to spend just as much, if not more money than that table makes on new animals because I am really going to be a kid in a candy store at this event. There's
for me, I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, honestly, Clint, is kicking a ball python off of somebody's table. It's gonna happen.
We should have just one there to be the mascot for the weekend.
We need a normal ball python, please.
Yep. It'll be the rarest snake in the building,
Well,
everybody can pay to get their picture taken with the ball python.
So last year,
I like that.
Darian and I walked around Tinley, and we only found 2 normal ball pythons in that whole building at NARBC. We spent like an hour and a half, and we bought them, and we auctioned them off in the U.S. Ark auctions, the rarest snakes in the building. Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, I think the cool thing about the location, too, is, like you said, it is fairly cheap to fly there, but drivability as far as, a one-day drive for a vendor. I mean, pretty much anybody from Kansas to New York could get to Indy in a one-day drive that doesn't absolutely kill you.
You are absolutely right. I think that was one of the reasons that it was so highly chosen as a city that, people would want to go to for this is because, to your point, it's made to be drivable. And what I mean is the interstates and highways that run in and through Indianapolis make it, very easy to get to in like you said, in a one-day drive. And, I do point out, because I think a lot of individuals were under the assumption that my proximity is what brought it to Indianapolis because I live in southern Indiana. I promise you it wasn't. I honestly thought I was going to end up somewhere in Arizona or something, or, down south to make this happen, or even the West Coast. So the fact that so many people chose Indianapolis, I was like, okay, that'll be much easier for me to make this happen. But no, I agree. It is a very easy city, to travel to travel into, to travel out of, the whole shebang.
So the big question is, for the people watching, what is some good food? Maybe drop that in the comments. What's some good food that we can go check out while we're in Indianapolis?
Oh, we will definitely do that. We'll put a list of some good restaurants that are down there in the area. There's going to be all kinds of nice little bar food, areas, pubs, and things like that. Because again, this is a downtown area that is built for a NFL team, and all of the traffic that comes in from that. So there's going to be tons of that kind of, stuff.
Who's the football team there?
The Colts, baby.
What? I thought they were like a college team.
No,
that's just because we have a lot of young players. So watch out.
yeah, I went to high school with a guy that plays on the Colts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, they'll take anybody. I'm just playing. I don't know shit about football.
We can't make too much fun. All we have is Battlehawks, so.
I don't know anything about any of that stuff.
Never watched a single game, but I love that fucking chant.
Oh, it's the law.
Uh-huh.
Does that mean I get to walk around and do that while I'm in Indy? In Indy, that's where that came from.
No,
No, that's not
No.
anything.
That's
That's
that's St. Louis,
Battlehawks.
the Battlehawks
Oh,
battle
okay.
cry.
Yeah,
Our
see, I don't know
UFL
anything about
team.
sports. I'm a reptile guy.
Yeah,
But-
while everybody else is watching the Super Bowl, Mickey was setting up tanks at the shop.
Yeah.
And Indians get called by a Hoosier and they don't get offended.
right.
Oh,
It's what we
people don't
are
like
out here.
Missouri. Oh boy. Well, yeah. So ColubridFest. Let's see here. What do we set the weekend passes at? $60 for a weekend pass, Clint?
I think it's 65 if I remember right.
65. Yeah, I can't remember. I know.
And I
if
mean,
you're one-
if you think about what you're getting for that, that's phenomenal. You know, that
Yeah.
gets you into the mixer. It gets you the entire day of talks, getting to meet all these people, and then get you into the show. And what does a normal show ticket cost by itself?
It's like $10.
$10. So I mean, if you think about it, for another $55, you're getting that entire experience. I mean, we spend more than that on dinner, you know. So that I think that's a phenomenal price for this. And just so, here's a little behind the scenes for you. Micky and I really sat down. We were crunching numbers and bringing our heads, together on this to ensure that we could get this as affordable as possible for our vendors, for our guests, our customers who are coming through, because we wanted, again, this isn't a money making venture for us.
Is
That's
anything a
not
reptile hobby?
it. Fair enough. That certainly was not what we're after. We wanted to make this happen for the hobby, and so that's what we've come up with a good game plan on how to mediate some of the expenses and help bring it down so it was going to be affordable for our vendors, affordable for our customers, because, when you're planning a national event like this, there's travel. There's people you're flying in, you're driving in, you're going to be eating out for a few nights, you're, getting a hotel room. It's all that. Now, we know how these shows go. You may have 12 of you in one hotel room to say, so you end up paying $5 a night kind of thing because of how many of you there are. But that's the point, is we wanted to ensure that as many people could come be a part of this as possible.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the vendor tables, they're like $150. I mean, and that just is what it is. And a lot of people understand why this costs as much as it does when they see how nice the venue is.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and Micky, I'll go ahead and throw it out there, and forgive me if you didn't want me to, but when we first looked at this and we're doing the numbers, it looked like those tables are going to have to be, was it $250 a piece, I think, is the first round. And me and Micky both said, we can't do that. We've got to figure out a better way. And we worked to get it there to ensure that that's what could happen, so that we could make this venue work, because we wanted it to be nice. We wanted it to be the right venue. And so it's, I tip my hat to the Show Me crew, for you guys to be able to make that happen and shift it down to make this where it's a go. It's a green light and feasible for all.
My mind starts working on the logistics aspect of it, or the promotion aspect of it immediately. And Micky, I wonder if we can't make a separate page off of our webpage for it as we start locking in the different seminars and topics, so that people know ahead of time, hey, this guy's teaching this guy's teaching this.
Once we get the itinerary up, it'll go up on the website, it'll go up on the Facebook event, all that stuff. So yeah. It'll be part of the page. That way people kind of know what's going on. I'm excited about the panels. I think that'll be a lot of fun, having that interaction.
Oh, absolutely.
So good.
And for those who, if you're not familiar with Zach, he's a board member for the International Herpetological Symposium, IHS, which I was lucky enough to attend for the first time in Knoxville just last weekend. And part of what he was responsible for this year was lining up their series of guests and talks that were happening there. And they were awesome. I mean, I just loved, all the information that I was hearing up there and seeing. So that's Zach's big piece of ColubridFest, is not just the promoting it on our show like we do, but his big piece is Zach is the one who's lining these talks up. and I've already seen what he's capable of, in making that happen. So I expect that we're going to have a good series and a good group of individuals for all this.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Well, Clint, thank you so much for coming on tonight and talking about this. I'm sure I'll talk to you again soon. But
Absolutely.
I've got to get back on the road, and it's probably family time for you.
It always is. I certainly appreciate you guys having me, and I look forward to so much more of what we're going to accomplish with this.
We are so excited about it. Thanks for joining us again, Clint. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
Peace
fellas.
out, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, sir.